Brilliant. Thanks everyone for coming. I think the first important thing to note is we wish Brian a speedy recovery from his hip replacement surgery that he's had. Brian's led the process for our new manager, so we wish him well, and that's why he's not up here on the stage from our perspective. So delighted to have concluded a search for our new manager and to be able to appoint Nick Montgomery and Sergio and Miguel to work alongside David Gray, who's a very instrumental part of what we're trying to do here at the club and maintain that continuity throughout what we're trying to do. So without further ado, I'll kind of pass it over to Nick, and I'm sure he'll want to say a few words before we open up to questions.
Yeah, firstly, really humbled to be here, really happy that I've got the opportunity to come to such a great club, and yeah, probably start by saying thank you to everyone at the Central Coast Mariners, the staff, the players, the fans and supporters who I've had a special relationship with. But moving here is for me is a great opportunity to get back to the UK and really come to a club with great supporters and a good squad in place. And after speaking with Ian and Ben and Brian over the last couple of weeks, I really felt this is the right opportunity for me, and yeah, really happy to be here.
Congratulations. What were you weighing up before taking the role? Because obviously you've forged a new life across the other side of the world, done that very well. It must be a big decision to come back to the UK.
Not really. Obviously, I'm from the UK. My wife's from the UK, and 11 years away from the UK is always something that I knew the next step would be back here. So yeah, just didn't really have to weigh anything up. I'm happy to leave the club as champions of Australia and take this opportunity and this challenge. So yeah, it was, once I'd spoken to Ian, Ben and Brian, I was pretty adamant from the start that was the right opportunity for me to take, and delighted to be here.
I don't want to use the word philosophy, but what's your approach, what's your priority as a coach? What can the Hibs fans expect from the way you'll go about this job?
Well, they can expect a team that are going to give 100%, number one. They're going to work hard. In terms of philosophy, I don't really like to use that word either. I think I'll try to bring a new identity to the club, and that's not easy to do. But I think with hard work on the training ground and the buy-in from the staff, the players, and the fans in the community, I really want to push this club forward and just bring a real work ethic and good style of play that people will come and enjoy to watch.
You said new identity. What kind of identity do you want to try and impose on this team?
Look, I think the squad's really good. I've done a lot of research on the squad. I know some of the players. I actually played with David Marshall a long time ago, so apologies to Davey. In terms of, probably he's one of the oldest players in the squad, but a fantastic goalkeeper. But look, identity is something that fans can come and enjoy. A team with a lot of energy. A team that I like to score goals. I like to win games of football, so I'm not different than any coach that comes into any club.
Ben, stability, is that something that Hibs are hoping this appointment will bring?
Yeah, 100%. It's something that we need as a club. We know what the track record looks like, and this is a long-term appointment from our perspective. It was something that Ron always wanted, that long-term approach to the football club. We're following in the footsteps of what he wanted, and I know Ian's really passionate about this appointment as well. Led by Brian, we had a lot of interest in the role, but ultimately we did want some certain criteria that was filled within that, and I think Nick ticks a lot of them boxes. So delighted to bring him in, but also delighted to bring him in with the team that he's brought, which is a winning team. And I think that's the key part here. They've achieved phenomenal success on a modest budget in a competitive league. And I think we're delighted to have got Nick and his coaching team in to work with David.
Last question I'll ask, just in terms of budgets and backing, obviously the window's now done, you've invested quite a bit in the squad. In that window just gone, will there be provision for the new man to do business down the line, or his hands kind of tied moving forward in that regard?
No, hands aren't tied. I think we've had a really good couple of windows now. We've backed the managers that we've had, and I think even Nick has said that this is a good squad that he's inheriting, and what we've got to do is get the best out of that squad now. We've got to give it an identity of play that they feel comfortable with, and that we can achieve our objectives for the season. The great thing about the process is that we've had time to really bed in exactly what the club wants, and Nick's had time to share what he wants to get out of the playing sort of style. So we feel that we've got a good squad, and we feel that we can achieve our objectives with that squad. But of course there'll be support. There always has been for every manager.
Ian, can I ask you what was different about this process in terms of appointing a manager who knows very little about, and you may know a lot, sorry, I'm not being disingenuous here, but you've no experience of Scottish football, Nick, so what's been the main difference here?
I think for us the criteria was very straightforward in terms of what we were looking for, the winning mentality, bringing young players through and developing them and moving them on. Nick has shown that. He's shown with a small budget that he's overachieved. So these are things that really check boxes for us. Yes, might not have the Scottish experience, but I do think his knowledge of the Scottish game is good and has a real understanding of what we're trying to do.
Why do you think you've had to make so many changes in manager over the last few years?
I think we've struggled to kind of figure out what the real vision and identity we want, but we have that in place now, and we feel Nick fits that in terms of how we want to move forward.
And Ben, can I ask you about the process, the interest, and then obviously Nick was the outstanding candidate. In terms of numbers and how many you actually interviewed over the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, well, firstly, Brian's led the process. I think it's important to know it's not a process that I've had hands on necessarily. It's Brian's led that process prior to going into his hip hop surgery. Nick was our number one candidate from the start, if I'm completely honest. As soon as we knew that Nick might be accessible, available, we knew that we would be hard pushed to get a better candidate than that, our criteria. Others were interviewed, but ultimately I think there was always a focus on, if you've got a number one target, you go after that number one target until you believe that you're struggling to appoint them. And we always thought that we had a chance, and it's not been easy. And I thank the guys at Central Coast, because that's never an easy negotiation. I think Nick's been brilliant throughout that process. We knew what we wanted and we went out and got it, and I'm really, really pleased that we did.
And Nick, when the position did become available, was this one that you instantly thought, I have to apply for this?
Yeah, to be honest, I've had quite a bit of interest previously, and as soon as I'd spoken to Brian, Ben and Ian, I just felt in my gut instinct that the right opportunity for me. So yeah, we talked in depth about football, about the club, about where the club wanted to go, and that matched my vision of what I wanted as well. So I think it's a good partnership, and I'm really looking forward to working with everybody at the club and getting started this week.
Nick, David Gray's been announced on your coaching side. Have you had a chance to speak to him to see what role he played in your squad? Yeah,
I spoke to Dave quite a lot. Again, top guy, and then talk about the DNA of a club. I think he's the perfect candidate to work alongside myself and Sergio Raimondo, my assistant. And yeah, we spoke in length the last couple of days, and went for dinner last night. So really looking forward to working with him. He's got obviously very good knowledge of the squad, of the league. And yeah, he's a good guy. He wants to learn, and I see myself as a development coach, and that's not just developing players; it's also developing staff as well. So I'll put a lot of effort into really helping him move forward in his career as well, and off the back of the experiences that I've had, and Sergio, my assistant, he's coached in many countries around the world. He speaks 7 languages, so he's a lot more intelligent than me. So yeah, really looking forward to working not only Dave but all the staff. So friendly, the family environment. From walking in the building this morning, it's really looking forward to getting to know everybody, and then getting started on the grass today.
Obviously, your coaching experiences are over in Australia. How similar do you think the two leagues are between Aussie and here now?
Well, obviously played in England for a long time, worked with some very good coaches, very good managers, and look, Australia is a good country. You only have to look at the men's team, the last 16 of the World Cup. The women just got knocked out in the semi-final of the World Cup, so there's a lot of Australian players playing in the SPL as well. So in terms of the leagues, obviously a little bit different in terms of the travel and stuff over there, things that you have to factor in. But in terms of one game a week and being an opportunity to develop players, throughout the week, it's not often that you have midweek games. So yeah, it's the similarities in the league, and I think that's why you see the success that a lot of the Australian players have had in the SPL. So yeah.
You got that?
It's been widely talked about your success over in Australia with a small budget. How important is it that you get time here at Hibs to keep that success going? Yeah,
look, time is as you can talk about time, we can talk about pressure. That's normal in football. I took this opportunity because I really believe that this is the right opportunity for me. And speaking to Ian and Ben, I've got a clear directive. I want to obviously help Hibs become successful, but also the big picture is the academy. There's very good young players in the academy. There's good young players in the first team. I think there's a real mix of youth and experience right now in the first team squad. So I'm really looking forward to working with everybody. But it's going to take a little bit of time to get to know the players and go and watch. I like to watch a lot of the youth games as well. So look, the future of the club is, for me, is really bright, and just can't wait to get started.
You mentioned the academy there. You've had a lot of success bringing through young players in the past. Just how central is that to what you want to do here, bringing through those young players? I
think it's essential to most clubs around the world nowadays. Apart from the top clubs that are spending huge money on players, I think a lot of clubs are clubs that develop players that hopefully will earn the club money in transfers moving forward, because that's how you help the club become sustainable, and that's the narrative that I had over in Australia. And we became a club known for developing our own players, but not only just our own players. In terms of recruitment, I've already spoken to Brian in length about recruitment moving forward, and yeah, it's finding the right players that fit the club, that you can see, not what the player is, what the player can be. And I think that's important, because yeah, you have to try and bring your players through, and there's plenty of young players in the academy that supported the club, and no doubt have a dream of one day walking out at Easter Road, because I had that myself as a young player, and I think that's really powerful. And again, with the right recruitment, senior players, visa players, and young players, I think that's what every club, success it should be built on.
You said you were sold quite early on. What was it about Hibs that really convinced you this was the right job?
Well, number one, my grandma was born in Scotland. I played for the Scotland under-21s, a future squad. I've got a lot of history with Scotland, and yeah, I just felt that it was a perfect club for me to come to. A club that right now is not where it should be in terms of the start of the season, but that's now my responsibility to put the belief into the players, and to create an environment where everybody wants to come in every day and enjoy training, and together, not just the players, the staff, everybody buying into the long-term vision, and that's to make Hibs successful. So it's a great opportunity for me to come in right now.